All right. Welcome to Quarantine Check-In. My guest today is another great Detroit comic, the very funny and strong Jim Eliot. How the
Thanks
hell?
for having me.
You're welcome. How the hell are you doing? How's quarantine? How was your first anniversary in quarantine?
Yeah, the first anniversary we celebrated by me finally giving in and getting two kittens.
Really?
So so literally like I don't know, every day since we've lived together, maybe not every day, but she wants a kitten or a dog or something, and I just keep being like, no, we can't, no. But since we were at home all the time, kind of running out of excuses. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. So then she applied, and it got rejected, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh,
And then
you get rejected for getting a kitten?
yeah, apparently I think it was a shelter or someplace. They like wanted all this background info, and I don't know why, but they said you guys aren't good cat parent material, I guess. And then I was like, okay, well, I dodged that bullet. And then the next day, she's like, oh, we're getting two kittens for free tomorrow. We got to drive to some trailer park in the middle of nowhere and get them from some guy. And I'm like, okay.
That's the start of every horror movie.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about that you could actually get rejected for getting a kitten. Like, I went to a
Yeah.
shelter. I walked in without a cat, walked out with one.
Right. Yeah. And they're nonstop being like, you guys have to adopt. You have to adopt. These places need your help. And then we try. Apparently, we're not good enough for them, I guess. So, anyway, we got a brother and a sister. We didn't know. We thought it was two boys until the other day. We took them to the vet, found out one was a girl. So the name has changed from George to Georgia. So our cats' names are Doug and Georgia.
Doug?
And
Oh, you named the cat Doug?
Doug, yeah. Yeah, we wanted to do Doug and George because I always thought, because like with Family Guy, the dog's name is Brian. I always thought that was the funniest thing. So I'm like, well, we got to do human regular names. And so we were, and then so now it's Georgia, but still, still human names. But they're both orange cats, which I've heard is a good thing. I don't know.
I have an orange cat.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, he's right here. Orange.
Wow. Hi.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Well, when I got him at the shelter, it was Butterscotch Pancake, and I couldn't call him that because it was the dumbest name in the world. So I called him.
Yeah.
I called him Buster, and one of my buddies was like, "You could have just called him Butters." I'm like, oh, "Fuck, I didn't even think of that."
Oh yeah, like South Park. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got an orange. They're both orange, which I guess orange girl cats are very rare. So we somehow got an orange girl cat.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I've never had my own pets. It's always just been my parents. So I'm learning about responsibility, I suppose.
So I'm going to give you some advice. Don't do that joke that you pulled on your sisters, on your sister.
Well, yeah, because I'll be the one cleaning it. So be a very short-lived joke.
Well, that's awesome. What else have you been doing in this time? Are you learning a new skill?
No, I should be, but I spend way too much time on the conspiracy subreddit, trying to figure out if Bill Gates is going to microchip us all with the vaccine or something like that. Every night when I'm in bed, I'm like, all right, tomorrow I'm going to start learning how to do JavaScript coding or something. And I never do. I just end up doing the same thing every day.
I was going to enroll in the International School of Exorcism.
Oh, don't you have to be a priest?
No. You don't have to be a priest to be an exorcist. according to the International School of Exorcism. Because I feel once this pandemic is gone, people are going to think their loved ones are possessed. I'll come in there with my Jewish star, say a prayer, be gone, demon, and they collect $500.
Yeah, why not? And you'd probably be one of the first Jewish exorcists, right?
Well, I hope
I've
so.
never heard of any.
Then I'll sell my story to the USA Network, and they can turn it into a series.
There you go.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting. Have you done any Zoom comedy shows?
I've done quite a few of them. I host one every Thursday night at 9:00. And last night's was really good. We had about 15 comics, and then we had about 15 audience members. And I don't know where they found us. But
interesting. So like if it's your turn, right, and you're doing your set, do you just see a wall of faces, or do you just see your own, or how does that work?
You see a wall of faces. They're just up in the top, and the person who's performing has the majority of the screen. So, but it was cool. Like last night we had,
and if people,
what?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You can go. Nothing. Go ahead.
You keep on freezing. But last night we had people from Tokyo, England, Canada. So it was just awesome to see comedians from all over the world converge into one little place.
Oh, you had other comedians from all over the world.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I haven't been asked yet, but I feel like I would be bombing, or I would feel like I was bombing the whole time.
I did an actual showcase like with Tina Green right when this started, and all the comedians were on Zoom, but all the audience was on Twitch, and we heard nothing. It was just dead silent. And then after my set, I went to the Twitch room, and people were commenting, and I'm like, this is not how to do it. You need the audience in the same space as you.
Yeah, well, I wonder, did they have their mic on mute, you think?
No, you couldn't hear them because they were on a whole different platform while we were being streamed into that platform.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
But it's a good way to, first of all, work out all the COVID-19 jokes you have that you're not going to want to tell once we go back to normal.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'd want to tell any because I think I would have the wrong opinion and it would get deleted. You know.
What do you mean by the wrong opinion? We're going down that rabbit hole.
What did you say?
We're going to go down that rabbit hole.
I just don't know why all this seems so extreme. We've never done this, and the people. It's interesting to me that there is a bunch of like young, like Generation Z kids, you know, like on Reddit, and they're all talking about how this is going to be the boomer remover.
Yeah,
you know. And then once people started protesting the shutdown, then all of a sudden they're saying, what are you doing? You're going to kill old people. You know, it's like, oh, so now you care about them? You know, it's very politicized. And I don't see any real plan. Everyone's just like, you're doing great. Just keep staying home. And it's like, what's the plan? That's all I want. If they were like, okay, it's going to be over, or you're going to be able to start going back to work on this date or whatever, that'd be fine. But when it just is just nothing, it just, you don't know, that's what's driving people crazy, I think.
Yeah, that is the big fear of no one knows what's going on. But the other thing is we're all suffering from this. Will be one of the most traumatic events of our life.
Mm-hmm.
We know people who are sick. We might know people who have died, and our insecurities of just being through something that's so fucking horrible, that's dramatically changed everybody's life, is scary as fuck.
Yeah, for sure. But I've always just been skeptical of everything on the news. So I can't help but wonder if this is just overblown, if it's really not as bad as they said it was. But you don't know, because then if you ask that question, then all of a sudden you don't care about other people, which I don't think is right. I think you should ask questions, you know?
I think it's because nobody knows. Like even the doctors are taking their best guesses. The government were caught with their pants down
Mm-hmm.
on this one, and it's I don't know. It's just a really weird time in our country's history, well, in the world's history, and
Yeah. It's interesting to see how the comedy world has evolved since this started too, with everybody wanting to do, different things to get content out. And I have this nagging feeling like I should be doing something like that, but I just don't know what.
yeah, I don't either. Like, and beside this, and this isn't comedy. This is just two people talking. But Nick Pizzuti and I have been talking about
Mm-hmm.
doing sketches, but that seems like a lot of work just to film and edit and write. But I don't know. We got to keep that
Yeah.
we got to keep that comedy muscle moving. Otherwise, when we come back, well, we're all going to be rusty as fuck.
Yeah, we'll definitely be rusty in terms of, just in terms of like the telling of the joke. I think we'll still be rusty, but I think that the good comedians, that muscle is always there. I think it's like an innate talent that doesn't go away. That there's always going to be the rustiness if you take some time off. But I think that, I don't know. I mean, haven't you? I mean, you still talk to people,
Yeah,
and you still make them laugh, even though you're not at clubs. You still are able to make your peers or whoever you're talking to laugh. Correct?
yeah, no, definitely. And it's but it's different because there's no substitution for being on a stage telling jokes in front of an audience, even if it's three people. You're in the moment. Something that could happen where you create something new out of that, and we're not getting that right now. So
Yeah, like the writing on stage part.
yeah, it's like for me doing these open mics is me just basically, it feels like I'm reading off a script. Um, Last night though, Aaron White basically did half of the set was crowd work, and I thought he had probably one of the best sets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he just zeroed in on the
How
female.
would that even work?
Well, he zeroed in on the females in the audience and was talking about how all his Tinder dates showed up, and he had everyone cracking up, and I actually believe they
That's
were.
funny.
And he knew how to work the medium. And Jason Spitzberger, for his Keith Richards, David Crosby joke, he created a visual display for it. He's like, all right, I'm doing a PowerPoint. I'm like, all right, you guys are really, really working this new format to your benefit.
That's true. We should all be doing PowerPoints if we can. I mean, why not? It's like we can all finally do the Dimitri Martin route, and make it more visual.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do one of me hanging myself.
To
I
really drive that one joke.
yeah. Oh man. What do you think comedy's gonna look like once this is all over?
Um, I honestly don't know. Like every day that they keep extending this, and I'm mind blown, and I'm not, because I thought that this was going to be over at the end of April for like which was not that long ago. It feels like forever ago. I thought that this was like, we're going to flatten the curve. Okay, we did. Let's slowly start to get back to normal. But it's not going that way. From what I've heard, that they're going to just start doing like half capacity at restaurants and bars and stuff like that, which is what most open mics are anyway. So that probably won't change too much. I think it'll be interesting to see how certain people shame other people. Like I can see comics wearing masks and like shaming other people that aren't, and vice versa. And vice versa. You know, I think it's like the virus and how people feel about it is almost like its own political divisive topic. You know, it's like an abortion thing. It's like, are you pro-choice or are you pro-life? Like, what are, and this virus, I think it might push that for a little bit. I hope not. This is just worst case scenario, but I think comics are going to be ready to go. They're going to be ready to perform. And I think that the audience members, I think it'd be a lot of the people like my parents' age in their like 50s and 60s, maybe late 40s. I think they'll be out. Because they just don't care and aren't worried about it. I think it'll be the millennials and the Gen Z kids that are more slow to come out because they're more afraid of this.
I've been trying to figure out where I stand in this because I am not Gen Z. I'm barely millennial, barely Gen X. But
you're a performer, though.
Right, but I also have asthma, and I'm worried because that's a condition that this
yeah
effect. And every time I go to the grocery store, I feel like I'm playing Russian roulette.
Yeah. Well, and it's tough to breathe if you have asthma with a mask on, isn't it?
It's bad, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I'm more aggravated about my glasses steaming up every time I put the mask on.
Yeah, that's true.
But I always have my inhaler next to me, so.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, it's not like, I mean, it's kind of rare where you're at a show where there's so many people that you can't get away if you're performing. I feel like most comics are always kind of off on their own, like looking at their notes on their phone or just trying to like get in their own mental space to get ready. So like we all do our own kind of social distancing. I think the camaraderie will take a hit for a little bit in terms of like people being close to each other and gossiping and making fun of other comics. But
well, a lot of us are also really stupid, so that might not change at all. That we might.
Yeah, that's true.
But
what do you think?
I think open mics are going to change.
Yeah,
I said it before on here. I think it's going to be. It'll be kind of like the LA mics where they have a different group every hour. So 7 comedians for the first hour, another 7, and we'd rotate out that we can't even stay in the bar so that customers can conceivably stay there. For that, I mean like places like the New Way and Cabbage Patch, like Tom Swan's room. He already limits it up to 10 comedians. Probably.
So like these marathon mics that run for like over 2 hours, you think will probably limit it?
I think those are going to have to change dramatically.
I always thought that those were too long anyway. So I think that's probably a good thing. We should, I mean, what you think about, like, did you ever go watch an open mic before you started doing comedy?
Yes.
Was it brutal?
No, because it was at the Acme in Minnesota when I was.
Oh, okay. So like one of the best clubs.
Yeah. And it was painful to watch. Most of the comedians were terrible. There were like 4 or 5 really good ones, and I wish I could remember them. But the worst one was this guy talking about Vin Diesel and Pitch Black. His whole set was based on that movie.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But like, can you imagine if you went to the Cabbage Patch and you just went and just to watch, and it was like 2.5 hours long of comics doing 5-minute sets? Like, we need it because we like it because we need the stage time and we need the practice and having the camaraderie. But as an audience member, like after a certain time, you're kind of like, good Lord, I can't watch another comic. I don't care if it's Rodney Dangerfield, like.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine like going to the New Way and sitting through 3 hours of comedy.
Yeah, me either.
Like,
But I mean, still going.
yeah, but I mean, it's necessary. But if you're up in the first hour, there might be people there. But if you are up at 2:00 in the morning, you are talking to the two comics and the host that are left.
Right, for sure.
So
I think it'll be interesting to see how, what the best way to develop material moving forward, because you could try to do it on platforms like Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, YouTube, but it's not really a good way to test it. And, we're both marketers. We both come from marketing, advertising background, and we know about like A/B tests and testing things to see how they work. But now that, that's taken away, how do you test it?
that's a good question. I mean, I test them at the virtual mics. If I get some laughter, I'm like, all right, this might work. This isn't working. But who knows? It's a gamble. I mean, I would love to put stuff up on TikTok and Instagram, but how are people going to find me that aren't already following me? Like, I mean, let's look at Lincoln. He became a TikTok sensation, and
Yeah.
I still can't figure out how or why.
Well, he was one of the first. I think he was one of the first people on there. Well, maybe not like first couple, but I think he was in the first like couple million. And from what I understand about TikTok, it's not about like production value or great writing. I think it comes down to just effort and just being yourself and being authentic. I think it's like what the Gen Z kids like.
Okay.
I talked to Justin about this a lot because Justin has been making a lot of TikTok videos during this quarantine. I don't know if you've seen him, but
I've seen a few of the stuff he's posted on Instagram and Facebook. I'm guessing they're the same.
yeah, they are. And he's just saying that like he's realizing like you don't have to overwrite anything. You just have to make an effort to be funny, and people will get into it. But even that though, it's like you're at the mercy of algorithms and technology that you don't understand. Whereas going to an open mic, it's just raw feedback right away.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes you a better comedian and a better writer, because you take that feedback and you keep on revising and revising and revising. And with TikTok, for the majority of it, it's probably, all right, film it, let's put it out there and see if it hits. There's no real
Yeah.
to it. But on the flip side,
right, or let me get my parents to dance.
if I see more dancing parents, I'm gonna go cry. I'm just
Yeah. I know.
It's just so stupid.
Right.
So what have you been? Have you been writing at all during this time?
No, I haven't. I've never been somebody when I first started doing stand-up, I would push myself to write. And then after like the first year of doing stand-up, I never wrote unless it was right before a show or during a show.
Okay.
Or if an idea struck me. So like I would never actually like sit and force myself to come up with ideas or just free write, which I should do. And a lot of people do. It's a good thing. But I've never done that. It's always been like if something pops in my head, I'll like put it in my phone and my notes. And then when I get to work and I have some time, I'll like, try to write it out. But I never just sit and just go, okay, think. I've never been able to do that.
I don't do that anymore either. If I have an idea, I'll keep on talking about it like while I'm driving. Then I'll hopefully go to a mic that night, perform it, listen to my recording of it, then start, crafting it. But I think if you sit down and actually start writing, that stuff is going to be so forced.
Yeah. And there's no way to test it. So it's just going to sit in a notebook for who knows how long, and then I'll probably not feel the same way about it in a month or whatever.
I mean, that's how I am with my material. Like, I just want to keep on coming up new, and hopefully get that perfect 15 minutes. Because my goal next year, if I'm still in Michigan, is to host at Ridley's, if that's possible.
Yeah. I think you could do it.
I think there's going to be a lot of people. I think it's going to be harder next year because to make it up for all the people who got it this year. Who didn't get.
Wait, what do you mean? Just because there's more people?
No. So there were a lot of people who lost their dates because of the virus. So those people should be,
right.
They should get their makeup dates first. I mean, that's only fair.
Yeah.
If Ridley's doesn't start back until, summer or fall, that means we'll have had 4 months of people who didn't get shows, do their shows.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, yeah, they should get first. They should get first choice for next year.
Yeah. I hosted in November of 2019, and then my first year hosting was August 2018, and then this year I didn't get anything. So don't.
No. Yeah, Mark Ridley says
it's a good goal, but it's out of your hands.
I've talked to Mark, and I think I might have got my thing in a little bit too late, but he goes, "You're funny, you know who you are on stage. Just keep on coming up, and next year." I'm like, "All right, cool. Hopefully that happens. If it doesn't, I understand because 4 months of people need to get their shot."
Yeah. What about outside of that? What's your long-term goal? Do you want to have a Netflix special or something?
I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And if I start thinking of this being like, all right, I got to accomplish this, I got to accomplish that, I got to get my Netflix special, I'm just going to be in for disappointment. I just need to go for the ride. And
has there been a time where you're like, this isn't fun anymore?
I did one show in Bad Axe, Michigan, and the audience was so against me.
Yeah.
It was the least fun I ever had, and someone in the audience, after I told everyone to fuck off, which I probably shouldn't have done, some woman used a very derogatory anti-Semitic term towards me. And
well, that just goes to show, they weren't your fans.
Yep, and I said to myself, I will never play Bad Axe, Michigan again.
Yeah, they're missing out on more than just you. They're
in
the middle of nowhere. They got nothing.
The problem was someone figured out a punchline to one of my jokes and yelled it out, and then he spent the rest of my set yelling out punchlines.
Oh, that's always good. That's always helpful.
And the guy who ran the show did nothing to stop it. So.
Well, what about not just a show? Have you ever had a whole period of time where it wasn't because I understand because I'll bomb and then I'll be like, well, that sucked. Why did I drive X amount of time to do this? But have you ever had a whole period of time where you've been in a funk and you're like, man, I just don't know what I'm doing?
Yes, and it lasted maybe 4 days. I did a show on December 30th up in Port Huron with these 2 New York comedians. I opened up for them on the Sunday, on the 29th in Battle Creek, Benton Harbor, Michigan. And I fucking destroyed. Then we're in this bar in Port Huron, and I'm doing okay. And then I do my suicide joke, and this woman in the front starts crying. And I'm not even into 30 seconds of it, and she goes, "I'm sorry, my grandson killed himself last month. I can't listen to this." And it hurt me. It hurt me so much that I brought this woman pain. Like I was, I was devastated because, you know, I'm trying to make light of my situation, and I hurt her so bad. And almost everyone in the audience knew each other. So, you know, there was no going forward. There was no going forward. I couldn't complete my set.
Yeah.
And I left, and the whole way home, I'm like, I don't think I can do this anymore. I'm doing this, you know, to make people laugh. And I wrecked this woman's night. And normally, like when I've gotten, you know, negative feedback towards stuff, it's like, all right, I don't really care. But for this one, this really hurt me. And before I left the bar, I wrote her a long apology letter, and I left, and you know, I never heard back. I gave her my email address just in case, you know, she wanted to write me talk. But I said, I don't think I'm doing comedy anymore. I have 50 first jokes as my next thing, and that might be my last show ever. And I've never actually told anyone about this before. So thankfully 50 first jokes, you know, I had a really good set that night, and it still hurts. Like since that night, I've been thinking about taking the suicide joke out of my set. And I've written a lot of new material, so maybe I'll still do it, because I don't want to bring people pain because of a stupid joke.
Yeah. Yeah. That was this year's 51st Jokes?
Yeah. Yep.
Isn't that amazing, though, how one set can turn it all around, even if it's just you have less than a minute to? Like, that show is electric every time.
This is the second year I did it, and it's become my favorite show of the year. And hopefully, you know, they'll be able to have it again next year.
Yeah. Well, that sucks. I mean, that sounds like, though, that show was just like the perfect storm of what could go wrong, you know, like, because if that woman would have just been a regular, like if that would have been at a comedy club and not everybody knew each other, then you might not have felt the same way. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was amplified the fact that everybody knew her and she knew everybody else. Then you probably felt like the lone bad guy.
I did.
You're not, you know?
I know. And I think the other thing that I think kind of hurt that night was I didn't really know the other two comedians. I didn't have like anyone else that I have bonded with over the 2 years that I've been, 2+ years I've been here. And that hurt as well. Like, you know, these women were touring, they knew each other, and I was the odd person out.
Yeah, it helps to have people that have your back when you're there, you know, and to kind of tell you, like, don't worry about it, you know, just let it get you, you know. But yeah, it's a very isolating hobby, you know. It's like you're up there by yourself. Did you ever do improv, or did you ever take any improv classes?
When I lived in Atlanta, I took some improv class at the Whole World Theater, which is a really cool improv place. Do you ever watch The Office? Dwight's karate instructor was a member of the troupe and my teacher there.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, but like with improv though, you're a team. So like if you guys bomb, you bomb as a team. But with stand up though, it's all on you, and you gotta drive back by yourself or go to the hotel by yourself after, and you know, you gotta deal with it all. And it sounds like it was like the perfect storm of just like, you know, just bad things. But you didn't. I know you're not a bad person. It's not like you went out there to personally try to offend anybody, you know.
No, I am not.
Like some people do.
Yeah, I am not that kind of comic.
There's a lot of comics in our scene. Not a lot. There's a few comics in our scene that make it their goal to try to upset people and offend people or make people feel uncomfortable and like want to get banned at places. And you don't do that.
No, my goal every time I go on stage is to have the best set of the night, because I am a competitive person, and it's like when I'm on stage with you and Justin, I'm trying to keep up.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Well, what about like the fact that you're a writer too? Your background career-wise is copywriting, and you know that has to help drive that too.
It does, and I think that's also helped. When I write jokes, to keep it down to the essentials, and that's one thing that drives me crazy when I see new comics, that they take so long to get to the fucking joke. They're set up
Yeah.
5 minutes of nothing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And just writing in general. When you read people's writing, it's the same thing. You're like, you skim it and you're like, okay, so that's all you're really trying to say? Like, you could have this could be 2 sentences, you know?
There was a comic, this person's still on the scene, and they sent me their set to look at. And I wrote back, I'm like, hey, can you send me a document where I can actually edit it? Because
Yeah.
this is so long, and there's something funny here, but your path to it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, what I like about your jokes is, again, you get right to the point, you get right to the funny, and like the setup of the kitty litter joke is just dead on. And I think I heard it the first time you did it, actually the first time we met when we drove to Windsor.
Yeah. That was an adventure, that's for sure.
Yeah, because who knew that that our map, the Apple Maps does not work when you cross the border.
No, not at all.
That was a fun show.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, you took the class, right? Yeah. I learned right away, like when I went up on stage, I'm like reading my jokes stuff for my list, and the whole time I'm talking, Bill just kept being like, get to it, get to it, get to it, get to it faster. And it was so uncomfortable, but I knew he was right, that it totally shifted everything going forward. So now every time I watch any open mic or anybody, I'm just like, get to it, get to it. What's your point? We don't have time for this.
Yeah, and they can also, like, the other thing I hate about open micers or new open micers is what should I talk about next?
Yeah.
Airplane food.
They think just because they have X amount of time up there that they have to fill it. But it's like, you don't. If you don't have anything to say, get off.
You've hosted the Ridley's open mic before, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So every time I host it, whenever there's a new comic, I'm like, you have 5 minutes. You don't have to use the 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one person, the last time I hosted there, he didn't use the 5 minutes. He had a really good 3-minute set. And he just walked off and said, thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah, and people probably remembered that guy.
Yeah, I actually booked him. The show got canceled, but I booked him because of that.
Yeah, that's all you need to do. Just be quick. You always want to leave people wanting more. I think that because me and you understand advertising and marketing, that we understand messaging and conveying thoughts and trying to make people laugh, but also like the presentation of all of it. Like, I feel like there's so many of these young kids that are getting into this that are just told, like, it's all about how you feel, and just nothing stupid that you think or whatever. Like, and then they just go up and they just talk and talk and talk, and then all their friends just want to be supportive because they're all nice kids from the same generation, and they clap and they laugh and they're like, oh, this is great. And then they go to a real room of normal people that have mortgages and stuff, and they're like, I don't have time for this shit. Like, I I'm not gonna just sit here and pretend to be amused while you guys just like wax poetic for 10 minutes about vibrators. Like, just tell me the joke.
Yeah, people want to laugh. They
Yeah,
don't they don't want to hear about your day. Like, oh man, I woke up this morning and got stoned, masturbated, got stoned again,
yeah,
masturbated again. Then I
yeah.
went to work, got fired because I got stoned and masturbated. Forgot I
Right.
was at the office.
Plus, like, there's an element of mystery that's important. Like, you want people to wonder about you. Like, oh, I wonder what this person's really like. I wonder what they really think about certain things. But if you just go up there and you just have verbal diarrhea, then nobody's wondering more about you. They're just like, shut up. You
Yeah,
know?
they want comedians to have a point of view. And like when I first saw you, I saw Justin, Camilla, all of you guys had points of view to your comedy, and that makes it more interesting. We all tell the same jokes, but your point of view on it is what makes the audience like you.
Hmm. And even if they totally disagree with you, there's a way to make it likable, and leave them wanting more.
Exactly, exactly. So let me ask you, what are your goals for comedy?
I was just talking about this. I don't know. Like, I feel like this. I call it a hobby because I'll see people and they'll be like, "How's the comedy thing going?" I'm like, "Well, I have like a actual career. Like, comedy is I just do for fun. But like, it's so um fallible. Like, it's so unpredictable when things like this happen. But I mean, even before the quarantine, there's so much that's out of your control in terms of like somebody just might not want to book you for whatever reason, or they have like all these things are out of your control. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to set myself up to be like, I want to achieve this by this date because there's too many factors that are out of my control. So I just want to just keep doing it and just see what happens.
No, that just keep on having fun.
Yeah, and I know like my career is where the way I actually make my money is in marketing and in the digital space. So if I just keep doing that and I keep doing comedy and then maybe down the road I find a marriage of both of them, then that would be great. That would be ideal. But I'm not going to ever just burn the bridges and burn the boats for comedy. A lot of people do it and I applaud them, you know. But it's too risky for me.
I,
I'd rather have financial independence.
I agree. I think the one person who quit their job to pursue comedy full time, Marcus Olin, I think he made the right decision because I think he's ready to jump to the next level.
Um, yes, but you still need to have a backup plan, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, he has his degree from University of Michigan. He can always,
Yeah.
he's still young enough where taking 2 years off isn't going to hurt him.
Hmm.
It's not like the
But
guy.
he's also single too.
No,
He doesn't have a family or anything.
no, he's not married, doesn't have kids. He's still at that age where he can pursue whatever. For me, that's
Yeah.
that's a little harder because I have my lifestyle. I have a career that I love, even though it's on pause right now. But I love doing that, and I can't imagine walking away from it to pursue comedy.
Well, so let me ask you this: you are your career. You made a career writing,
Yes.
essentially. Have you ever thought about any kind of blogging or writing like a short story or a book or anything? Or
I've
because
actually, I've been actually working on a novel during this time.
really,
I had an idea
okay,
before all this went down, and it's I don't know. I think it could be cool. I just need to figure out the ending, and then because I'm in the outline phase right now, and I've written like the first chapter based on it. But
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Who knows if it'll go anywhere? But just doing it is keeping the creative juices flowing.
Is there any kind of community that you have around this, or are you just kind of doing this in the darkness? Like, are you kind of
I'm,
doing this and then no one else is really seeing it?
I'm doing in the darkness. I don't like sharing stuff until it's at a point where I feel ready to share it.
Okay.
Because I years ago I wrote a book and I didn't finish it. I wrote like the first 6 chapters, and it was about my group of friends at a certain point in our life, and I let one of them read it, and he goes, "I'm just going to ask you as a friend to stop writing this because you're telling stuff that I don't want out there."
Yes.
I'm like, "All right."
Oh, you're divulging personal info?
I tried to mask it as much as I could, but he still knew it was about a certain event, and he's like, "Please don't."
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, and the book was about the suicide of a friend, and that was
Okay.
so.
But this new one, though, no problems like that. You see.
No. I mean, every character is still based on someone I know,
Hmm.
but they're more peripheral characters to the main story that's going on.
Do you remember? I mean, obviously, you remember. Maybe 8, 10 years ago when blogging was
Yeah,
still a thing and
yeah.
it was still like people loved it. I still love reading blogs, and I don't know why it's not more prevalent because it's still there. The technology is not obsolete. It's just been sidestepped for these instant gratification, like quick videos and Facebook or whatever. But I still think there's a real value in blogging. How do you feel about that?
I think blogging is good, but I think much like podcasts, there's so much of it out there that you it's hard it's harder to get to the good stuff without having to wade through all the trash.
Yeah. Okay. But is that also though that I mean it's a way to carve out an audience global. Like you don't have to it doesn't have to be because like with stand up you're limited to your geographic location. I mean you could put stuff on YouTube in terms of like stand up clips and videos, but if you're going to build an audience that way, you better be cranking out content every day, like or 4 times a week to be able to keep their interest.
No, I mean, as soon as you stop putting content out there, people are going to stop following you.
Right, exactly. So that's why I'm thinking like since you're such a good writer with
Um,
blog, I'm just curious. I'm not trying to push you in that direction. I'm just
if
curious what your thoughts are.
if I could get on a website that had an audience and they could put my promote my blog, yes. But if I'm going to go to blogspot.com and have something
Yeah.
there, like I'm writing for myself.
Yeah, it's the starting from scratch part that sucks. Because
Yeah,
like you're putting effort into stuff that nobody's gonna see, right?
I've been thinking about submitting stuff to BuzzFeed, but I also don't want to submit stuff to BuzzFeed because I hate the site so much.
Yeah, me too.
But I find other ways to get creative. But man, we got to wrap this up. But before I do, during this time of quarantine, I have become a big fan of Craigslist misconnections. Are you familiar with it?
Then where people like go on and they say that like they saw somebody that they liked, but then they don't know who they are, right?
Yes. Yes. Um, I'm going to read one that I saw like maybe an hour before we recorded. Um, if you could crack a joke or make a snide comment off of it, that would be great.
Okay.
All right. So this one is from Livonia, Michigan. Hot girl at Chili's. Last night I went to grab some Chili's to go. I had to get some baby back ribs. You were the sexy waitress who brought my food out to me. You have blonde hair, blue eyes, and a sexy bod. I fell in love instantly. You laughed as I sang the baby back rib song to you. Your laugh was infectious. I wrote my number on the $10 tip I gave you. I hope you call because I'd love to show my not so baby back rib. Winky face emoji.
There's so much going on there. He sang the song, and he called out that he left a $10 tip, which he shouldn't have.
And then he put his phone number on there.
Yeah, he put his phone number on there. God, I don't know. It takes me a long time to come up with joke. Did you have any thoughts about it?
I'm like, this guy just ruined Chili's for me.
Oh, that's impossible for me. That's my favorite. That Chili's is one of my top 5 favorite chain restaurant. Yeah, casual dining. Yeah. I can't. I'm just. I don't know if I could make it funnier than what you just read. You know what I mean? Like just what the guy said.
What I'm shocked is that she did not get grossed out when he sang the baby back rib song to her, which I don't think has been in advertising. It's been advertised for like the last decade. So she probably had no idea what that was.
I think it's funny to think about, like, if they did get together, what their story would be to tell people how they met. And it would be like, well, how'd you guys meet? And she's like, well, I was working Chili's, car side to go, and I brought my this order out, baby back ribs. This guy, he sang the song. I kind of laughed, and then he left his phone number, but I thought that was weird because people do that every day. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, I was just on Craigslist Misconnections, and I was like, oh my God, doesn't make sense.
No, it might be the start of the dumbest love story ever.
Yeah, like if he left his phone number, why would he go on Misconnections? It's kind of overkill at this point,
Maybe he's trying to cover all his bases.
Yeah, that's true.
Like maybe she doesn't read it, but her creepy manager does and goes, "Hey, Cyrano de Bergerac."
Yeah. He's like, hey, listen, I know that you've been looking for a great man in your life, and I was on Craigslist Misconnections today, and
yeah, I was looking for the love of my life, hoping she saw me at Kroger.
yeah, exactly. You had a mask on, but I don't know what you look like. But you had the most beautiful eyes,
That you bring up a good point that this guy was not wearing a mask as he was getting his Chili's to go.
Yeah, he pulled it down to sing the song, maybe all seductively.
I'm gonna message him to see if he heard from her because I need to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, me too. Livonia is where I was born, and that's where I work. So I gotta know.
It's where I currently live, and I can't even figure out where the Chili's is. There a Chili's here?
I think there's one on like closer to like Redford, like Merriman and Schoolcraft.
Okay.
I think there's one like not school. Yeah, Schoolcraft. That's the one that runs along the freeway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I think there's one around there, like maybe like Inkster, or Merriman, or one of those roads.
Huh. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I know there's the mall with the Myers in it. Maybe it's in there. That's Middle Belt.
Yeah, it could be.
Huh. I haven't been to Chili's in forever.
Well, you should go. Do you ever go to Cantoro's on Haggerty in between 5 and 6?
I don't even know what that is.
It's an Italian market.
Okay.
It's really good. It's a restaurant too, but it's great.
Huh. Maybe I'll do that. I was going to cook chicken again because that's all I eat now is chicken. Since we're in the
the keto.
No, I'm not in keto. I even gave up paleo because I can't work out now. I mean, I run and walk, but like I hurt my back in February and can't lift weights or anything right now.
No, that sucks. Plus, it snowed today.
It's supposed to snow on Sunday.
Perfect.
Or as when this airs, it'll snow a week last week.
Yeah.
Jim, thank you so much for doing this. I hope to see you sooner than later. We actually have a really good guest for tomorrow's show.
Who?
This really cool comedian out of Kansas City named Kyle Hopkins. He will be on the show.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Later this week, Diana Graham. And
Oh, very cool. I love Diana.
I do too. She's become a TikTok celebrity from what I heard.
Yeah, that's true.
All
Very
right.
true. Well, yeah. Hey, I appreciate you having me on. This is I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too. It's good seeing you again. And
Yeah,
all
you too.
your bookshelves.
Oh yeah, this is just for decoration. I can't read.
I live in a void.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon.
All right. Take care. Stay safe.